Well, that's because you sat on a chair that probably didn't have one. So, up front, we have packets. We did that very much on purpose. So when maybe you sit up front and you can find the packet. All right, so this is the Monday quarterback. Who can tell me where I can find that?
On the Aura website, they deliver to you by email.
You can find this at Aura. All right. So we're gonna go through some stats here that I really want you guys to look at, and I want the producing agents in the room to have a conversation around this. Okay? I think I did. All right. So if you can see here, the first thing that I want to point out is that this is divided by price ranges, right? The top part of it. And what it's telling me is how many months of inventory under 250, between 250 and 300, et cetera, et cetera. Where do I have a buyer's market according to price?
300, you're on the way. 300 to 400,000.
A buyer's market, 3.60 months.
Oh,
of
sorry.
inventory.
I was looking at 11. I thought it was 11.
Inventory.
Sorry. 500,000 a million or over a million.
All right, over a million. Woo! That's 10 months of inventory. That's a lot of inventory right here, right? So I want to point this out, guys, because I'm hearing a lot of agents saying things like, we're in a buyer's market. No, it depends. It depends on price range. It depends on the community. You're not all in a buyer's market. Even within this price range, we can be in the 400 to 500 where we're in a pretty balanced market in Central Florida. And we can still be in communities that are completely a buyer's market or a complete seller's market, right? So when you're looking at comps, dig deep into it. Don't go into the just general information. Ask yourself questions because there's tons of stories that you can be telling sellers and buyers today around these numbers. All right. One question that I want to ask you is, which price range is moving the fastest? And this is based on market. So which price range is moving the fastest?
Under 200,000.
4 to 500.
Yeah, under 250, we're moving at 52 days, 3 to 457 days. So if I am prospecting for listings, if I am looking for listings to put on the market, who am I prospecting if I want to sell it pretty quickly? Yeah, absolutely. Anywhere from like 200 to 400, right? Those are the listings that I really, really want if I want to sell them quicker than the rest of it. Now, let's have a conversation about days. Can we agree that days on the market is the #1 enemy of price? Say yes loudly.
Yes.
Loudly.
Yes.
I need you to understand that. Days on market is the #1 enemy of price, and I'm going to prove that to you. Are we ready to have a numbers combo? Like a big one?
Yeah.
We're going to do some math. All right. So I want you to look in your packet where it says average original list price. Houses are coming in the market on average. We're going to talk average now, all right? But you can do this exercise for every single price point. At 543,224. The average final list price is 527,623. Who can tell me the difference between this number and that number?
$8,000.
It's $15,601. What we're seeing is that the average seller, which is most sellers, are overpricing the house by $15,601. And then, when they get under contract with a buyer, they are further negotiating down $16,570. So on average, the sellers, because they're overpricing, they're actually leaving on the table $32,171. Ay, the energy shifted. What do I need to clarify? Talk to me.
Clarify the sellers, let them know that.
Now, what do I need to clarify to you guys? Write this matter.
Price it right.
You're what?
Price it right.
Price it right. Right? Because what is the #1 fear of a seller when you're in the listing appointment?
Leaving money on the table.
Leaving money on the table. What the sellers don't realize is that when they overprice the listing, they are going to leave more money on the table than if they were to price right. There's the proof. Why are you laughing, Coach? You have this smile on your face like,
On Monday at 11 a.m. when we have market updates and talk about this stuff every week. So-
every week, every Monday at 11, right? Because this comes out every Monday. This is a lot of money that they're leaving on the table, guys. Mainly because real estate agents are not strong enough to actually have an honest and brutal conversation with our sellers. When you bring our sellers through the story of what's going on in the market and you're using this data to prove to them, if we overprice, you're thinking that I have room to wiggle to negotiate, but let me tell you what the data shows me. We're gonna have all these price drops, around $15,000 in price drop, and then on top of that, we're gonna end up negotiating around $16,000 less. So basically, if you're pricing right, you're saving them this pain right there. Price it right, because when you price it right, this number is going to be lower too, the 16,000. What are you thinking? Give me thoughts. No one?
Good for buyers.
Absolutely. Because when we have overpriced listings on the market and you're a great buyer's agent, what are you telling your buyer?
I'm gonna get you a deal.
I'm gonna get you a deal because houses are sitting on the market because they're overpriced. They're sitting on the market and that seller is starting to get a little antsy and desperate. So I have more negotiating power. Right? Is that, are you, when you are in the listing appointment, are you actually saying that to the seller? That is a conversation you need to be having with your sellers right now. You don't want to be the seller that a buyer's agent like me is going to be telling their client, we have room for negotiation here because they've been on the market more than 60 days. Because a good agent is gonna do that. Does that make sense? All right. I want you to look at how many days on average is taking from listing to close. So if you're a listing agent in the room and you're overpricing the listing, it's gonna take you around 150 days on average to get to closing. That also means that it's taking that seller 115 days on average to kind of sort of sell the house and get out of there. Do you know how they tell you that they're not in a hurry? Do you not think that at day 80, someone's getting calls about how many open houses I'm gonna do? And how many Facebook ads am I running to sell a house? People are not in a hurry until they are in a hurry. And people are putting houses for sale because they have to. If you're sitting across a seller that's all like, I just wanna try the market, that is not going to be a seller that you're going to sell. It's not gonna be a house you're gonna sell. You're basically going on a practice run for a listed presentation. You have to be in front of who? These three things that Gary teaches us. Ready? Able? In this market, the gift is the willing. If they are willing, and if they have to. If they are willing to play by the rules of this market as buyers, they're going to buy. If they have to buy, they're going to buy. And if they're willing to play in this market to sell the house, they're gonna sell. And if they have to sell because life happens, they will sell. The big issue that we have as agents is that in order to find that motivated person, that person that's willing to transact in this environment, I'm gonna have to talk to 4 times the people that I usually talk to. Because we have less motivated clients in the market right now. So how do I fix that problem? If I have less people in the market that are actually going to buy or sell a home, as a real estate agent, what is the one metric that I can control?
How many people you talk to?
How many people you talk to. So if you're doing 20 conversations a day and that's not enough, then what do we need to do?
Double down?
We gotta double down, right? We gotta double down. No one likes doubling down. No one's saying that this is going to be fun. It ain't gonna be fun, right? If I'm sending 500 golden letters and I'm not receiving any answers, then how many do I have to send? 1,000. And it's just what it is. This is just the market that we're in. We have to accept that as real estate agents, and then we have to help our clients understand the market that they're in and the dangers, especially for sellers, because I think the buyers have the upper hand right now to some extent, right? With all this negotiating power. especially the sellers. If they wanna make the most amount of money, we need to take advantage of the window of opportunity. Who can tell me how many days I have on the window of opportunity? Once a listing hits the market like a Krispy Kreme hot donut.
76.
Ninguno 76.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. At most 2 weeks. If they 5 or 8 come through, and you don't have offers, or I'm sorry, you don't have showings, start worrying. Because a well-priced home will sell quick. And mind, your last listing that you put on the market, how many days did it take to sell it?
4 days.
4 days. Don't be telling me that houses are sitting on the market, because if they're priced right, they're gonna go quick. Who said mine too? Shayla. Tell me about that listing. You put it on the market, how many days?
4 days.
4 days.
We just did one with Julie, open house, 4 offers first weekend.
4 offers first weekend. Because buyers are going to buy what they believe is a deal. And what they believe is priced right in this market. And that is the conversation that when you're on the seller side, you need to help that seller understand that. Because no one wants to leave money on the table. And what they don't know is that they're leaving a lot of $32,000 on the table. But if we bring this data, which comes every Monday, now you have the actual pulse of the market in your hands, right? You can really have a very intentional conversation about this is the risk of overpricing. Are we willing to lose the $32,000? Because it's costing you money. Because days on market is the #1 enemy of price. Any thoughts or questions around this, guys? Cool. Anyone on Zoom? Any thoughts or questions? All right. The average house that people are buying, it's a 4-2 home, 2,100 square feet. So if your lease is 3-2, 1,700 square feet, you're gonna sit on the market a little longer. The more important for you to price it right. Because buyers are gravitating towards 4-2s, 2,100 square feet. All right. This is a great slide for buyers. You know, on the post-sale meeting email, you're going to have tons of scripts to have a conversation at the listing table. And I'm gonna give you a script for your videos on social media, so you can do your challenge with that script around the market, all right?